Hello everyone. In this video, you will learn how to analyze the patient healthcare data or blood test data with the help of Google Looker Studio, and we will use the Google Looker Studio to create a report like that. Okay, and here we have Looker Studio. So we are going to connect our data and try to build a report something like this. This report was created in Power BI in one of our earlier videos, and many students asked us, can we do the same thing in Looker Studio? So here, let's go step by step. First, on Google, obviously we will open Looker Studio by Google, and from here we will simply sign in. When you are here, you can create your blank report, and in your blank report, the first thing that it is going to ask is connect the data. The data that we have is this particular data where we have patient name, age of patient, gender of patient, hemoglobin level, WBC level, platelets level, glucose, and cholesterol level. So for every patient here, one row represent test data of one patient. Okay, so and that's why for sample we have 50 patients, and the purpose of this video is to understand how to analyze the same data, how to create the same dashboard in Looker Studio. So in Looker Studio there are many connectors available. So either you can use Google Sheet, and we will use Microsoft Excel. Okay, here we will simply upload our Excel file that I just showed you. So the file is getting uploaded, and let's wait for it. And now the file is uploaded. Okay, here are some options in the file that you need to consider. So here, include entire worksheet, or you want to include a specific range. We will include the entire worksheet because we want to analyze the entire data. Use first row as headers for sheet range. So obviously we are going to use the first row as header for our Excel file, and include hidden and filtered cells. If there are any hidden or filtered cells, we can add. If you want to select any particular row to skip or column to skip, you can skip them, but here we will simply use the default settings and add the data. So it will show you this simple information that you are about to add data to the report. And note that report editors can create charts using the new data source and can add dimensions and metrics. We will simply add the data. Now once the data is added, here you will see the name of your sheet, and here you will simply see the data fields here. So here age, cholesterol, gender, glucose, everything. This particular field, that is record count, you can see this field is not available in the data. So it is generated by Looker Studio for us. Now we will try to create charts and simple dashboard. The first thing is to add a simple text. So we'll just remove everything, and from here we will just add a text box, and in the text box we will just write patient healthcare analysis data or blood test analysis data, whatever you want to call it, and we will simply select it, align it to center, make it bold, increase its size to around 30 pixels so that it appears like a heading. Okay, in your heading, if you want to give it some kind of styling, so you can give that styling. So let me just adjust it, and obviously there are different things like background and border. So here we will just use a simple background so that we represent our healthcare data, and you can just drag it into the full width. Okay, whatever theme you want to use you can use, and this way we will just put it to the top. Here, overflow settings visible or hidden, you can keep it as default. There are many other things that you can do here. Let's add a border shadow. Okay, so this way a simple border shadow will be added. Now we have the header. Now we will show the patient count, average age of patient. So to show the patient count, what you can do, you can simply try to bring record count here, and if it is not showing here, luckily in Looker Studio when you will add chart, so we have the scorecards. These scorecards are great for showing KPIs. Okay, so here we will just add this, and when you will add this, you have selected this chart. So here it is asking for a date range dimension if you want to add, and for sparkling it is asking you to add a dimension, and if you want to put any filter on this chart you can add. Okay, so here we have record count. So here is some dataset configuration. Let's select. So it was just asking for authorization of data. Now you can see that when I have added a simple chart here, it is showing me the record count. Let me show you once again. So from here click add chart, and here you can just drag your record count anywhere. Now here you can simply reposition it. Okay, we have in a style, if you will go, you will see data to show title. Okay, we can show any custom title also, like patients, or the data that we have. And here you have options for your option to change your metric, like here currently we are showing record count as 50. Okay, again in a style we have many options. We have option for auto generate, okay, which is record count, and here we have option to compact numbers. In labels we have option for colors and changing the size like this. Okay, you can also select some background color for this. Let's select a simple background color. In your title also you can align your title to center, and hide field name also, because we have already added the title. Field value we will align to center, and here we have our heading can also be aligned to center. Obviously this is something that is going to take some time to master, but these are the things that you can use as per your requirement. Okay, here also we have the font color. We have you can change font color to different heading. Okay, and you can show it, like show the title below or your field value above, and or use the default, whatever case you want to use, you can display it. We will keep it like this. Here we also have option to select the font family. Okay, you already saw how we added the background color and border, and there is option for padding also, like you can give different kind of padding, 8 pixel, 5 pixel. Okay, let's keep it 0 pixel here, or let's do one more thing. We'll just press Ctrl Z Y. Yeah, we'll just keep it as default. So this is a simple record visual, and we have simply selected a border color also. Now this is showing our record count. Okay, and we will simply call it patients. Okay, So we have 50 patients. Let's drag it so that we can show more visuals like average age. Now here when you will select this visual after copying it, so what I did, I just copy pasted it. Here you have option to select a different matrix. So I will select age. By default it will show me sum of age. Okay, let me zoom it for you. So just a minute. So here if you will see, okay, it is showing sum of age. We will use average here. So this is average patient age, and in a style we will go and write average age. Okay, so we have 50 patients with an average age of 40.76. Now what is the average value of hemoglobin, glucose in the dataset? This is something that you can easily repeat. Okay, so we will simply use a different metric here like hemoglobin, and instead of sum we will use average. Okay, and so in a way we are trying to describe the data for everyone, like what this data actually is. And here instead of average age we will add average hemoglobin. Some visuals will require, because of their spelling they will require you to resize them. Similarly we will create one for average cholesterol. So here we will choose cholesterol. Okay, and instead of sum we will use average. For everyone's understanding, what we have done is we have created dashboard visual ideas to present our patient blood test data. So we have given examples like hemoglobin levels, WBC and platelet analysis, glucose levels, cholesterol insights, comprehensive health score, demographic insight. So some of these visuals, we will create some of these visuals, and others you can also go and create so that you can simply practice that. Okay, so we have patient, average age, average hemoglobin, average cholesterol, everything like that. So obviously we will just align them so that we have option for more visuals. So I will just pause this video and repeat it for other parameters. And we can see that average glucose level is around 102.06. So you can see for most of them, like average hemoglobin, average cholesterol value, average glucose value, for most of these 50 patients, it is around the healthy range. The average value is at least around the healthy range. So we can say that in our data set, we have both healthy and unhealthy patients, or we can say that all of them are healthy. That's why this range is there. Okay. So the other thing that you can also do is you can find out the minimum, the maximum, so that you can understand it in a better way. But that is up to you what you want to display. So this is the first part of our data. Now there are different ways, let's say count of patient by gender. Obviously in this data set we have 50 samples of male patients, 50 sample of female patients. But in real, obviously when you will get the data, you might have different distribution. So for that we will just add a chart, and you can either use a pie chart or a donut chart here. Okay, so we will use a donut chart and keep its width twice the width of what we have there, and you can see it is already showing us name and count of these patients. So by default the dimension is patient name and metric is record count. So in dimensions we mostly choose that particular column or that particular field which is categorical, and here gender and patient are the two string values and gender is our nominal value. So instead of patient name we will select gender, and then we will get the same graph as we were getting. Okay, so this is a simple case, and here also you can go to style and show some title. It will always show some title by default, and here we will see it is showing gender by record count, and here what we wrote is count of patient by gender. Okay, so we can display the same thing. And by the way, in this graph also sorry, you can go to style, and you can choose alignment of your title, make it bold. Okay, you can also scroll down to find background color, and we can choose any background color as we were showing, and here also we will align it to center. Okay, so this way we have count of patient by gender, and we can also give a different color to our title. So this is our data, that is count of patient by gender. So when you have a categorical variable, the first thing that you can do is obviously find some count like this. And second, what you can do, for example, we can just copy it, and we can use other measures also. Okay, so by other measures I mean, for example, let's select here. So we will keep the dimension in Looker Studio as gender, but in metric, that is automatic record count, we can also try to find out the hemoglobin level. Okay, and this will show you the average. You can see in male what is the hemoglobin, and female what is the hemoglobin, but this is sum. So the metric that we want to use here is average. What we want to check is the average hemoglobin in male different from average hemoglobin in female. So you can see the average hemoglobin is in female is around 12.31. Okay, and in male it is 14.02, and this indicates that the healthy hemoglobin level will be different for male and female. Okay, and here we will simply go to style, and we will simply write average HB of patients by gender. Even on Google, if you will just type HB normal range, so the normal range for hemoglobin levels varies by gender, and in men it is 13.5 to 17.5 grams per deciliter, and in women it is 12 to 15.5. Okay, so that's what we can see in our data also. As you can see, this is showing us the data in percentage. Obviously, what we can do here, we can select a bar chart here. Okay, and place it over it. It will just copy the data for us. We will just copy our title, average HB of patient by gender, and we will simply show it like that. And here it is showing us this information. Okay, again it is showing us sum, but we want to see average, and this is more meaningful data for us. Obviously in a style we can show the title, and yeah, hemoglobin by gender will be a suitable title, but we will just add average over it. Okay, and the thing that we are doing, like align it to center, make it bold, change it color to the theme that we are using, and what we are going to do is background also. Obviously we are going to change the color, but we will use a chart background of yellow color that we are using. And one more thing that we are going to do is we can choose a different color for it. Okay, if you want. In bar charts, suppose you want to switch from vertical bars to horizontal bars, so you can also display it like that. This is your choice, however you want to display. And here we have bars, so we can increase size and we can click on group each other. Obviously this is not going to work in this case. If you will click on show data labels, then this will also show the data value on top of bar. That will be best for us, because this way we will be able to see average hemoglobin by gender. From here you can adjust the you know space that they are taking. So as per your analysis, this is most useful when we have more data or more categorical values, then this will be helpful for you. This show hemoglobin, this show title will show that this is hemoglobin, and from here you can show y-axis title also. So by showing this, your data will be more meaningful, and you can use a different grid color, you know, as per your choice. And let's select this. So it is not making sense. So we will use blue color. Okay, blue color, and increase the font to 14 pixel. Okay, it's not looking good. Let's go back to what we were using. Back here where you have background and border, so when you will click here, you can select the same color for entire graph, as we have done for other axes also, other graphs also. So this way, in our patient healthcare blood test analysis dashboard, we have count of patient by gender and average hemoglobin by gender. In a similar way, we can also use a pie chart, and a pie chart is very much similar to graphs like this. Okay, where we have a categorical value, and for that categorical value we want to display some data. And here also we are going to select a style, and in a style we will select data like that. But here we are going to choose different data. Obviously the dimension that we are going to use is gender, and the metric that we are going to use is the average, or we can also see variance in cholesterol. Okay, so we are seeing gender wise variance in cholesterol for female and male. Okay, and the metric that we are using is variance in cholesterol, and we are sorting the data by variance in cholesterol as well. So you can see the variance in cholesterol for male is 26.08 and for female is 56.92. So in simple terms, high variance in data means that the data points are spread out and far from the mean or average of the data set. Okay, so that's why we can say that in case of female, uh, the data of females that we have, so there is high variance in data of cholesterol. That means the data points are spread out. That means their cholesterol values are spread out, while in case of male candidate it is close to the mean value as compared to female candidate. And similarly we can change the color of its heading also, as we have been doing for different cases. So now we have patient healthcare blood test analysis dashboard. This is count of patient by gender, average hemoglobin by gender, and gender by cholesterol level. You can change your headings accordingly. Now the next thing that we will try to figure out is WBC and platelet analysis. The simple idea is to identify correlation of WBC versus platelet. Okay, so there are other ideas like you can create a heat map, that is WBC count by age group and gender, create a line chart, that is WBC and platelet trend over time, and there is a longitudinal data. But here we are going to use the scatter plot to find out if we increase platelets, will WBC also increase, or if platelets got decreased, so in someone's uh, report WBC will also get affected. Are they correlated? So for that we will add a chart here, and here you will find a scatter chart. Scatter chart can be used to find out relationship between two numerical variables. So at this moment you will see we have some metrics on X and we have some metrics on Y. I will simply zoom it for you so that you can also see clearly. So here on X you can put the matrix that is independent, and on Y you can put a matrix that is dependent. Okay, so instead of record count we will select WBC. Here we have selected WBC, and here we will select platelet count. When you will do something like this, you will always see only two dots here because it summarizes the data. Okay, so here we are showing the sum average. We are only seeing the aggregation of data. So here you can see we have platelets versus WBC. I am just zooming it for now. Obviously we are going to style this later, but the important thing to understand here is, let's start from beginning. So when you add a chart like a scatter chart, okay, so here we have the scatter chart. When you will add it, so it is already selecting gender as the dimension. In X matrix obviously we will select something like platelet in this example, because we want to see if we increase platelet, is there a change in WBC, or what type of relationship do they have? Do they have a linear relationship? So, but here the dimension that it is showing us is gender dimension. Okay, and that's why you are seeing sum of platelet, sum of WBC, and data is grouped by gender. But we want a patient ID. But patient ID, or suppose there is a column like index or something, 1 2 3, values like this. There are many ways of achieving this in Excel. So for every patient you may have a unique ID. Okay, but in our case this was not there in the data when we loaded it. So what we can do in Looker, we can add a calculated field. Okay, so if you will see calculated field, so we created a calculated field that is called patient ID. Okay, and this calculated field I will first remove it. Okay, it is going to affect the data, but I will simply remove it and I will show it how it can be done. So from here click on calculated field, and you can add it here also. Like you can add a calculated field here also in the dimension, and if you, so that will be used for this visual. If you want to create a calculated field, you know uh, for your data, so click add field, add calculated field here. Okay, here you are going to name your calculated field. We will call it patient ID, and this is a field ID that is assigned by Looker Studio itself. We are not going to change it. So we are thinking about something that will be unique for every patient. Okay, so if we write concat or something like row number is available, that will be good. But in our case, what I thought was if we combine patient name with hemoglobin and platelet, let's say. So obviously every patient name is unique in our case, but if we will combine this combination, so it will be unique for every patient. Obviously there are many ways, other ways of doing this, but here we are just showing the use of concat calculated field. In concat, you have to provide these three arguments. So here the first thing that we are going to use is patient name, comma, and then we will combine it with dash, and then we will use single quotes. So we are combining it with a little string dash or hyphen, and then let's say hemoglobin, comma, dash, and finally what whatever third parameter you need. So this way we will have a unique patient ID for every patient. Obviously this may be a case where one or two patient may have a different value, but in our case, since we have 50 patient and all of them have unique distinct name, we are still doing this to create a patient ID field. The idea is unique a column that is unique to every row. Okay, and this way when we will simply do one simple thing here. Just a minute. We will simply go there, and instead of gender we will select the patient ID. When you will select the patient ID, you will see a graph like this. Let's view the report in full screen. So here you will see for platelet values, when the platelet values are increasing for each patient, because each dot here represent each patient. For example, this is John Doe, this is Andrew White. Okay, each patient ID that we have here for each patient, this is platelet versus WBC count. We can see if platelet count increases, so WBC count also increases. So we have a linear relationship between platelet and WBC. So this way we can adjust it with height, whatever you want to do with it. Let's say in this row we want to create two graphs. So this red guideline will help you in fixing your width, and you can go to style. From here you can change it as a different color. You can put background and borders as we did earlier. So let's select a background color. Let's select a border color also. And just a minute. There is the border color, yes. And what we are going to do is obviously this is interactive. So if you will click on any dot, it will start showing you data in other reports also. The cross reports is on. Sorry. Here we will go to style and we will show title. So this is distribution of platelets by WBC. Automatically it has given a name, and we will simply go to our header, align it to center, make it bold, choose its default color, whatever we want to use. And this way we will have distribution of platelets by WBC. Now the next thing that we are going to try is we are going to group the patient by their glucose level. Okay, so in your data, when you have a glucose level, so some value will be normal, some value will be high, and some will be pre-diabetic. So now you will learn how to use a calculated field that will loop over this entire rows of data, and if the value is, let's say, 100, so based on the condition it will create a calculated label here, like for example normal, this, let's say this is low, something like that. So this calculated field will be just like a column which will look for every glucose value and mark it as low, high, pre-diabetic, whatever you want. Similar thing you can do with hemoglobin, you can do with WBC, and that's how doctors will suggest that yeah, this is alarming, this is not. So in that way you can get a calculated field. Okay, here we have a simple case statement. Okay, so it is very easy to understand. We'll create a calculated field with this case statement. So when glucose, in our case it is simply called as glucose. Okay, so when the glucose is here less than 100, then normal. Okay, when the glucose is greater than equal to 100 and glucose is less than equal to 125, then we will call them pre-diabetic level, and when glucose is more than 125, then diabetes. Else we will say the level is unknown, or we will say that we don't know what the data is. Obviously we don't have any such value, but this is case, when, and else, and then you write end. So in case you can write many cases. In every case you will write a situation or a condition and select your condition accordingly. Here you will compare your value. Here AND is a logical operator, so glucose greater than equal to 100 and glucose less than equal to 25, so it will consider both of these conditions. Okay, so we will simply copy this and go to our report, and here first we will create a calculated field and we will call it glucose indicator or whatever you want to call it, and simply paste it. Okay, so here you can see when you receive a check mark here, that means the formula is correct. Okay, the case when glucose is this, and we will simply save, and it will automatically choose that particular value. Make sure the name is correct. Okay, we will close and mark it done here. Now you can see the glucose value is in a number format. To see this data, we can use a bar chart or a pie chart. So we will simply use a column chart here, and here we are going to adjust it. Okay, and as I have explained here, patient group by glucose level. So in a bar chart. Okay, so here we will use dimension. On dimension we will choose glucose indicator. Okay, and as per our data, in metrics we will choose record count, which appears automatically. So here you have the record count, and we have pre-diabetic count as 26 and normal patient are 24 out of 50. Okay, and here now you can go to style and what we have been doing so far, like you know record count by glucose indicator, make it bold, choose color. Here we will show data labels also, so that the values are visible on the data itself, and We will choose the default background color as we have been showing. Okay, and we will just increase its height to match its neighbor here. So this is our data, and now you can see distribution of platelets by WBC and record count by glucose indicator. So this is a simple dashboard for us. Obviously there is a lot to explore here, like percentage of patient in each glucose range, KPI card indicating highlighting patient with glucose level above 125. You can do that. In cholesterol inside you can create a histogram, that is distribution of cholesterol levels. So based on this particular calculated field, I will leave this calculated field formula in description of the video, so that you can simply copy from there and create something like this for you as well. And this is a very simple patient healthcare, which is the blood test analysis dashboard that we have created in order to teach basics of Looker Studio to students. Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next.